Just hold tight, hold tight. This is the Wally WHY100. It is in fact the only Wally WHY100 currently in existence, and we've got a few tours of Wallies on the channel already, but this is the first time we're actually sea trialing one. And this is an interesting boat. It's called the Wally WHY100, but it's more like 70 feet long, 45 gross tons, and it's designed to be a bit more approachable, more manageable, more owner-operator than run with a crew, perhaps. So, we've also got some interesting conditions to test it in. It is not what you'd call flat calm out here. It all should make for a rather interesting test, and we're going to start with what it's like to drive. So let's get going. I'm Jack Haines, welcome to YachtBuyer. It's not been easy to track down a Wally to test for you guys, so we'd appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel right now. Make sure you never miss any of our videos like this one. Well, first impressions at the helm, it is typical wacky Wally. You know, we are so far forward on this thing. You've got this massive central mullion running down the windscreen and this little stubby bow in front of you. The boat is all entirely behind you. You've got no real perception of the size of this thing, sitting so far forward here on this upper deck. We've got the lovely carbon fibre Wally wheel, triple MFD displaying all of my information, and of course carbon fibre absolutely everywhere. But for all the sort of unique style and design of this helm station, the propulsion is relatively formulaic. It's IPS 1350, so 1000 horsepower on either side. It gives you joystick control at slow speed and really quite refined, quiet, smooth performance. It'll top out at about 25 knots, cruises happily anywhere between 15 and 19 knots, and because the design of the hull shape, no matter what speed you do really, there's no sort of massive change in sensation. It just starts to sort of push through the water a little bit faster, but it's very smooth, it's very refined. Of course, it's open back. We've got everything open at the back at the moment, so you can hear the sea, you can hear the engines a bit, but you just get a bit of a sensation of your environment really. It's not intrusive, and it's just a fantastic place to drive the boat from. It's so novel to be this far forward. You sit nice and high. Obviously, you can stand like I'm doing now, but you've got these wonderful classic Wally high-backed carbon fibre chairs. And of course, with IPS comes quite familiar steering and handling. You know, it's really light to the wheel. As I said, it's a 70-foot-ish boat, and it, you know, it turns really nicely. Reacts very well to the helm. It's lovely and light. Not too many turns, lock to lock. It's not what you'd call a sports boat. That's not what it's designed for. It's a really, really cool sensation. And of course, you know, Wally wanted this to be more manageable, easier to run for an owner-operator, and the IPS is perfect for that. And I'm not really having to think about the driving at all, really. You've got trim assist on, which is adjusting the blades automatically for the conditions. Single lever mode means you can use one throttle to get the boat to push through the water, and you've got the joystick at slow speed. It's also got the DPS system, so when you want to hold the boat stationary in port, or if you're waiting for a pool key or a bridge, you can just press that and it will hold the boat stationary. So all of these things add up to making it that bit more manageable if you're running it as a short-handed crew or if you're running it yourself. But yeah, I mean, it's a really novel place to be driving this thing out here on the water. And as I said, not ideal conditions, but it's handling them nicely. Pair of sea keepers as well. They're not actually currently active, which is interesting. It's quite good to see how the boat handles these sorts of conditions when you haven't got the sea keepers on, and it's coping with them admirably. Of course, they more come into play when you're stationary. You put the platforms down, which we'll see later on, and that's when you really want the benefit of those. But here at these speeds, it's nice and stable. You know, we're turning now. It's a slow, steady, considered turn. There's no heel, there's no lean, there's no great excitement, but it's, you know, slow and steady, comfortable. And there's just the novelty of the fact that you're at the helm of a Wally, and that just feels great. There's no two ways about it. But there's lots more to enjoy in this boat. It's got a really novel layout as well, not just in terms of the helm design. The whole layout of this boat is really interesting. And before I forget, if you want to experience what it's like to live with a Wally, this boat is for charter in the south of France. Head to the Peritas International website to find out more. There's a link in the pinned comment and the description below the video. Just to elaborate a little bit more on the slow speed handling, as well as manoeuvring, the DPS is so useful on a boat like this. We've now been stationary here just outside the marina for over half an hour, We've got about 25 knots on the beam and we've had it on the DPS the entire time and we have not moved an inch. We're surrounded by boats here, but the engines have just been coming in and out as they need to keep us absolutely stock still in this position. And on this version, it's not even using the bow thruster, it's just vectoring the pods to keep the boat in the exact position you leave it in. It's absolutely brilliant. If you're waiting to come to a marina, waiting for a bridge, waiting for a fuel key, it's properly game changing. And of course, when you want to do the maneuvering, you can just take it out of this mode, head into docking mode, and then you have full joystick control, which if you're not familiar with IPS means that if I want to twist the boat, I just twist the joystick. So we should come round to starboard slightly now, turning through the wind so it's a bit slower, let go, same again, twist to port, and you have two modes as well. So this is standard mode, you have high mode, which you'd use if it's really blowing, just to give you a bit more power, and then of course you can also go sideways as well as twisting. If you push sideways on the joystick, the whole boat moves sideways uniformly. But you probably want the bow thrust as well, especially in really windy conditions. Often the bow will struggle a bit to get through the wind, so just being able to nudge that with the proportional bow thrust that we've got fitted as well gives you all you need really to handle this boat at slow speed. It's confidence inspiring. There's another station out the back as well, so if you're mooring stern to, which we will be when we go inside, you can do that from right at the back of the boat because I can't quite see the bathing platform from here. You're right forward in this position, having that extra joystick back there is really helpful. It's a great setup. Right, let's head inside and do the tour. As I said out on the water, it's a hard boat to get the sense of scale on board. It is only 70 feet despite its name, and because of this layout, the twin deck layout, it just sort of plays with your mind a little bit. And look how high I am off the water here. This is a hydraulic bathing platform, but when it's in its up position, I'm quite a long way from the water's surface. But of course, this drops down and you can put the tender on this to launch it too. There's also space for another smaller inflatable underneath this sun pad here. Push of a button and that whole thing comes up. You can see the passerelle here. This is a nice bit of kit because it works as passerelle. It also goes down far enough to become a stairway into the water, which is a nice effect. And we've also got the terraces on either side, and through the magic of B-roll, we'll show you what they look like when they're down. But of course, they just extend this living space. There's enough room on there to put these chairs on, for example, so you can really expand this area and deliver that sort of waterside living space that everybody is looking for these days. Let's head to the cockpit. What's really nice about this design is how all of the seating in this cockpit faces backwards. They really want to connect you with the water throughout this entire deck, and it works so effectively in this area. But you have this mezzanine effect. So this is really exposed here. You can see right now it's in the sun, whereas this is in the shade. It's much more protected. You have the cover of these windows around here, so you don't get as much wind effect there. So however you're feeling, you can lie and enjoy this space in real comfort. And this is a really cool piece of the design, which is this semi-enclosed dining area, dinette, call it what you like. It's quite unique really, and it's such a big part of this boat's appeal because as it is now, you can see the doors have been slid back, they slide across there, and on that side it's all open. We've got the breeze running through, it's absolutely lovely, but of course you can close it all up and then you have much more protection for the elements if you need it. But because it's all glass, there's still a great connection with the water and the sky as well, because look at these glass panes above me. And they have a great effect drenching this area in natural light. So when everything's closed up, you still genuinely feel like you're outside. And of course, this is the only dining space on this deck. So it's flanked by the serveries. There's cooling space underneath this one. Lovely detail here as well. Carbon fiber, obviously it's a Wally. Carbon fiber plays a big part in the design, but I love how it sort of hovers over the counter underneath. There's a sink integrated to that one over there, and then a bit more storage on either side. But you know, wood here, it's not all carbon fibre, it's not too much. They use it sparingly, so when you do see it, it feels special. And of course, this area then connects to the inner saloon. And this is even more protected, of course, because this is fully enclosed, apart from having the side door on the starboard side, which allows the crew to get out onto the side deck, and then this sliding door here, which is right across at the moment. There's a three-parter though, so you can, again, fully enclose this, air condition it. It makes the engines even quieter because, you know, they're a long, long way back being IPS, but this door just gives you that extra level of insulation. And what a nice place to sit and relax. It's fully enclosed, it's comfortable, you sit opposite each other, so it's quite sociable. There's televisions over there as well, so obviously only this bench can see it, but it does stow away when it's not in use. And the split stairways are clever because it means the crew can move around without disturbing guests if people are using these passageways. And we've covered the Helm in good detail, but I like the fact that you can walk through it. And then, as I've mentioned, you have that starboard side door out onto the foredeck. Well, the side decks are symmetrical. There may only be a side door on one side, but you can get all the way around, and there's no rails, as you can see, so it's all clip-in fenders, very clean lines. Obviously, design is a huge priority on a Wally, and the priority here was the space aft, so they haven't left themselves much room forward, so it's a pretty simple arrangement. A couple of seats here, chaise long, so you can catch the sun if you want to, and hence why you've got these carbon fibre. Have a drink every time I say carbon fibre on board this boat. These have a canopy on top so you can get some shade over this area if you do want to lie here. But yeah, not a huge space, just really for catching the sun. And of course, for the crew to do the anchoring and the mooring lines. Let's head downstairs. As I mentioned upstairs, this is where you see the effect of the split staircase. I've just come down the guest one through this door here. This is the forward end of the lower deck. That's the crew accommodation with their separate staircase. We're going to look at where the crew sleep at the end of this lower deck tour, but let's begin with the guest areas, which starts with a day head, but that also connects to the twin cabin that we're going to have a look at in a moment. But if we head over to this side, we find the VIP. And this is a really nice cabin. It's got some great artwork in it, some great features. I love this effect here of the surfboard behind the bed. That's really cool. But it's a great space in its own right. You can see the amount of headroom I've got in here. Good sized bed too, and easy to walk around it, and lovely detailing. I really like the use of woodwork throughout this lower deck. Beautiful flooring in the lobby, and we'll see more of this as we get to the owner's cabin. Worth pointing out as well, these guests have got TVs too, and they can control the sound system independently from their phones or tablets. And this has got a lovely big bathroom with a separate shower cubicle. That is a really good size. On the other side is that twin I mentioned. It's actually set up as a double at the moment, but it slides. So depending on how you want to use that cabin, that is quite helpful. And that connects to what looks like a hidden door to the day head. So they have got private access to that bathroom. But let's keep heading amidships through this lovely hallway where we will find the full beam, the midships owner's cabin. This is great. And I talked about the detail. I love the woodwork in the ceiling. You can see you've got an escape hatch here, but I really like the way they've integrated the speakers into the ceiling in this area. The lighting's lovely, and this really cool strip light which mimics the windscreen up above. That's a nice touch. Big hull windows down here as well. Natural light is good throughout, and really good use of very subtle underlighting just underneath this sofa here, underneath the bed. It's lovely, and the panelling is really nice, but it also hides quite a lot of storage. This is all hanging space here. There's lockers on either side. Where's the bathroom? That's what I know you're going to ask. Well, it is. Voila! How cool is that? And it's not just got some party tricks, it's a good space as well. Big separate shower cubicle over there with space for a seat so you can sit down and shower. The toilet's that side, and of course it's got a carbon fibre sink. Have a drink. Right, let's check out the crew space. Into the crew space then. Opposite me is that staircase I mentioned earlier, which gives separate access up to the main deck from the guest passage, and this is the galley. And, you know, it's a pretty good size, to be honest. We've got big induction cooking here, oven above, fridge below. Again, a decent size of hull window. There's some natural light in here because you can also close this off, so you're not always going to get the natural light coming down from above there. And this is the sleeping space here. It's a bunk cabin with a separate bathroom. I should point out, this is a charter boat. It's in use, so you'll see some of the cruise bits and bobs around. And, you know, they say this is effectively a big, glamorous day boat. They don't do many overnight charters, so yes, it's not a huge crew space, but it's only called into action occasionally, and for that it's perfectly fine. Right, let's head to the engine room. Engine room access is through this hatch here in the cockpit. This is part engine room, part sauna and part meditation space. As you can see, headroom between the engines, not great, because this is that tender garage above my head here. It's all insulated, so it helps keep things quiet, but it does mean it's crawling only between the engines. When you first drop down into this space, it's fine. You can stand fully up at the front of the engine room. But yeah, past this point, you are on your knees or sitting down. Underneath this section, the two seakeepers are mounted. And actually, once you're between them, access to stuff is pretty good. Outboard, not so great. Fine inboard to get to the daily check stuff. The fuel filters are mounted inwards as well, so that's really useful. And the IPS pods are also really easy to get to. Often these can be covered in this sort of stuff, but they're completely open here, so it's very easy to visually inspect those and work on them if you need to. And of course, this is a Foredeck group product, so the underlying engineering should be pretty good, and you see evidence in that. The way the piping and the wiring is all clipped up is incredibly neat. You've got a wandering light, so you can inspect down here in the far corners. I've mentioned about the fuel filters and the raw water filters all being very easy to get to. So yeah, space isn't amazing down in this section, but it's a well-engineered area. I have to say, I've really enjoyed getting to know this boat. I wasn't quite sure what to expect. I didn't fully get the concept, having only seen the renderings. There isn't that much about this boat out there. But in practice, in the flesh, it works really well. It's such a novel concept. Having that full cover, but also being able to open everything up and making sure that everybody is sort of living in the same space. Whether you're enjoying being by the water, you're lying on those sun lounges up there, or you're dining, you're still connected. It works really well, and that more manageable side as well, that also comes to the fore. We've talked about the propulsion system. It does feel like a boat you could run as an own if you wanted to. The only thing that goes against that is that the galley does feel like a crew galley. That doesn't feel like the sort of galley an owner would want to use, but of course you can cook on deck if you want to. But yeah, a really novel design, but I'd love to know what you think of it. Get in the comments below and let me know what you think of the Wally WHY100. And remember, if you want to chart it for yourself, you can. I'll put a link to the website in the description to this video. Thank you for watching that sea trial and review of the Wally WHY100. If you like the video, please give it a like. And if you want to see our tour of this boat's big sister, the Wally WHY100, I'll put that for you up there. I'll put some of our sea trials down here. And if you'd like to subscribe to the YachtBuyer channel, you can do that by clicking up here. Thanks again for watching. I'm Jack Haines, and this is YachtBuyer.